All right, Shalom. First thing and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Abanawa, Yahweh, double honors and much respect to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to you, hopefully elect. We're your fellow servants from the Great Millstone Orlando camp, joined by our honorable guests from the GMS Charlotte camp. The spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Shema Shah. We out here another day in, day out, prophesy the downfall, destruction of this wicked kingdom, known as America. But to tell you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Get into the topic of the sermon, prophecy is no longer a conspiracy.
Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 5. Behold ye among the heathen, in regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work which ye will not believe, though it be told you. There's Habakkuk 1 and 5. Behold ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which you would not believe, though it be told you.
And that work being prophecy, all right? Prophecy goes into to say before. You see, and that displays the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. He says what he's going to do. He declares what he's going to do if he does it. And now we're in the time where these things, faster now more than ever, they're being fulfilled. And it's to the point where, hey, everyone, their grandmama, aunties, newborn baby, everyone's speaking about prophecy. Everyone's prophecy is a hot topic in everyone's household. So it's inevitable. You can't get around prophecy.
It's Ezekiel 12 and verse 21. And the word of the Lord came up to me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel? Not prolonged, and every vision faileth. Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord of power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. And it shall no longer be prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith the Lord power. You know, just like the brother's going into it, the title of the sermon, prophecy is no longer a conspiracy. We're living these things out in our days, thus saith the Lord. You know, got it, bro. But we living out prophecy right now. You know, what the Lord said in Matthew the 24th chapter, he gave signs of the second return. He said there will be wars and rumors of wars. He said there will be famine. He said there will be pestilence. He said the love of many will wax cold. These are all things that we're starting to experience in the earth. This is no longer speculation. People can no longer speculate whether or not famine is according to the Bible, is according to prophecy, because 41 million Americans are getting ready to face, or possibly facing famine due to these SNAP benefits being cut off. So it's no longer a speculation anymore. Famine is actually here. It's no longer a speculation regarding the market of peace, because the infrastructure is being set in place right before our eyes. We're seeing the pushing of these digital IDs. CBDCs are starting to rear their head up within the banking world. You see the push for our AI data collection companies, man. All of these systems are systems for the market of beast to be implemented. So this is no longer speculation or conspiracies. This is an actual reality. People are actually living these things out.
Well, it actually is a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy fact. Because it's conspired, this is a plot between two more people to do something. What we're seeing, what we've been saying from the beginning about how these elites, these Edomites, these so-called white people, the bankers, how they've been setting up a plan from the beginning of how they're going to enslave the world. So you see all these different, documentaries, the apostles are talking about, like the capitalist conspiracy, the money masters, and different ones that show you John Todd and I forgot the other dude's name, going to the court and all that shit. Jordan Maxwell. These things that these people are saying, all right, back then people could call people crazy because they weren't actually seeing things being put in motion. But everything that those guys talked about in the 90s, early 2000s, going forward, all these things are coming to pass now, showing that, like you said, the MOTV infrastructure is being put in place, and seeing people having dreams about, how terrible it's going to be out here, all right? Having dreams of nuclear destruction. That shows the Lord is pouring out his spirit on the earth, and it started with the man of the Lord having the breath put back in her and speaking. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And that's what it is. And now everybody's talking about prophecy. Everybody is beginning to realize that the Hebrew Israelite has been saying is true. You know, you can't deny it, like what I'm saying. It's no longer speculation, it's fact. That's why people are tuning their ears more and more to this truth. And even if it's in mockery, it's still in jest because they understand what we're saying is true, but you know, they got laugh and keep it fine, right? They know exactly what we're saying is facts, but they don't want to accept it because they stuff in their bubble, you know?
Right, it hasn't touched them personally.
Exactly.
So they feel like they're distant from the circumstance. But the Lord is changing that. Because at a certain point, you think about how this truth is evolved. There was a point where the only time you heard about an RFID microchip was in a demolition manual when our apostles were speaking of it. And now it's a normal thing to have these conversations about chips, cashless societies, and nuclear weapons. That's common speech to them. But it's like frogs in boiling water. They don't realize it's getting hotter until it touches them personally. By that time, it's too late.
There's people in Babylon right now walking around with chips. There's a video I saved on TikTok. I didn't mean to do a video on it, but Jake talking about he met this woman from Sweden and said that she had the chip in it. You know, Sweden was like one of the first countries that was with them. Right? They had chip points on that. So they've been ahead of the curve as far as this agenda. But she was telling Jake, like, yo, you gonna have to get this shit at some point too. He was like, I didn't put no chip in me. You know, y'all can say what you want, but I'm not doing that. But that's what he said. Everybody can say that, but this shit's going on. But we have a better advantage over these people like him because we have the Holy Spirit. Therefore, we have a backing that when shit, you know, pushes on us, we're back into the corner. We know that we got a spirit, the spirit of the Heavenly Father and His Son. We can call upon that's going to deliver us. But you people out here that don't got no foundation, no backing. Hey, that house that you built up with the house built upon sand is going to fall.
It wasn't built on a sure foundation. The hope of everybody else outside of the elect is grounded in Babylon the Great, which is a broken reed. So they're going to take that chip out of desperation. But those that are hope founded and grounded as an anchor in Yahweh Shema Shah, they understand that when these things happen, the Lord is going to step in. We may not know the details, but we believe the Lord will do that through the Spirit of power of Yahweh Shema Shah, and He will do that for the elect. Lord will be a part of that number.
So finishing out in Joel 2:30, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord. And one of the scriptures tells you, Jeremiah the 10th chapter, to be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. And the Lord's been showing different eclipses, different blood moons, and whatnot, different signs, like you see them right for example. You got, they call it the 3-eye atlas, you know, all these different chariot sightings out there. They're letting it be known that they know that shit is about to, go. These Edomites, they're still the ones that seem to know, you know. So they understand that Yahweh Shah's coming back. That's why the 3-eye atlas talk is getting more and more intense, because they have to jump on these narratives on the chariot before they really get out there and become people know those are actually our brothers and those shit.
Right? And you got outlets like Tucker Carlson, and he's bringing on people that are saying, look, these ain't aliens. These are interdimensional. They got government people saying that it's more closely related to the scriptures than some little green thing. But then you open up the wormhole, because now this truth is out there. So now I got to say, all right, well, if the chariots are real, then who are the people of the Lord? Those chariots coming for them. Beginning with the elect.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, for like is all that is made in the world at the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And that word manifest goes into the Latin word manus, means the hand, so ultimately, the end is essentially touching, everybody, and it's easily grasped, because essentially the effects of prophecy are touching everybody on earth.
Right. Hey, real quick, this is the Oxford Dictionary definition of manifest. Clear or obvious to the eye or mind. That's what's happening, being made clear to everybody. That what they thought was conspiracy theory is actually a true conspiracy.
Facts.
Hey, real quick. Read that again. Get these words forecast for you. Similar word.
This is the definition of manifest from Oxford Languages. It says clear or obvious to the eye or mind.
Right. All right, real quick. Get the second Area 6 and 20. Read that. Hey, the Lord making it plain, man. Making it plain. Hey, to everybody, he's making it plain. Read that.
And but it's beautiful because in Habakkuk, the first chapter, what did the Lord say?
Right.
That you would not believe, nor be told.
Told to you. Right.
So the Lord, it had to be extravagant. And think about the power of what's happening right now. Our apostles in the 80s spoke of what we're living now. Think about the power of how this truth, just in our lifetime, we've been able to witness what people looked at as crazy to now they have to deal with the reality of it. That's powerful, man.
Hey, we were talking about last night. The apostles, before they came on YouTube, right, they got fruit. More fruit came, but the prophecies wasn't happening. But the fruit was coming in. Now, like bro just said, we living in the era of prophecy. Read that.
Second Ezra 6:20. When the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished,
But you see it happening.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament,
The tokens is prophecy. Go ahead.
and they shall see all together.
Hey, everybody see it, but the people say, oh man, that's crazy that happening. Man, that's crazy what's going on over there in Israel. Well, that's crazy what happened in Ukraine. Oh man, they see the, man, that's crazy.
They seen it and brand new.
Yeah, but they see it. Read, get the word forecast.
Definition of forecast online. Predict or estimate a future event or
Right,
trend.
predict the estimate, future event. Read the similar words.
Predict.
Predict,
Prophesy.
prophesy. Go ahead.
Prognosticate.
Prognosticate. Hey, the real prognosticator. The Lord tells Isaiah in Esau in Isaiah 47. Where your monthly prognosticators at? Where the real prognosticators are here. Go ahead.
Divine. Foretell.
Foretell, divine. Go ahead.
Foresee.
Foresee. And it tell you when you go that word foresee. When you go Wisdom Solomon 8, it tell you she give us the wisdom to foresee signs, events, and wonders, man. That was it.
Forewarn.
Forewarned. The Lord sent his men. The Lord sent the prophets out before he sent the destruction. You got it.
Okay,
That was it. I got it.
This is Sirach 36 and 14. It says, fill Zion with thy unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory. Now, what you were saying earlier about how pretty much the things that we're speaking about, this is the unseen to the world, but it's happening, they just can't see it. But as it says, fill Zion with thy unspeakable oracles, when you go into that word oracle for the etymology, it says a message from a God expressed by divine inspiration through a priest or priestess. It says an answer to a human inquiry, usually respecting some future event.
See, hey, real quick, go to that, right? Get Revelations 19 and 10, that word testimony, right? Because it was only given to the prophet, the secret. You got it.
And this is proving something very important, that the spirit transcends the flesh. That the Lord is showing that whatever physical power you have is nothing compared to the spirit. And it's being seen that the lowest class of the greatest empire the world has ever seen is confounding. In real time, the Lord is destroying this society brick by brick, starting with the numbers. Because a kingdom is founded on a mentality. The mentality of this place was established on lies. So now the truth is entered the realm, and you're finding out that truth is more powerful than lies and violence and strength. This is really how Bashina shot trumps on, that no man can boast. You know, because even possibly know what we know is all through the grace and mercy of the Bashina shot.
So the word for testimony in Revelation 19:20, 19 and 10. It says, testifying, the office committed to the prophets of testifying concerning future events.
See, the office committed to the prophets, man. And the Lord said he revealed his secret to his servant, the prophet. So that's it, you got it.
Yeah, but like, here it is, the lowest of the low in this society. It's literally telling you everything that's not going to happen, and the Lord is witnessing to it. We was telling the world about how it's going to be an event before 2020 that was going to happen. I was going to shut the world down. Nobody playing to do it. And then what happened? When that shit happened, what was everybody doing during the lockdown in their house? Everybody was tuning into the Israelites watching to see what we were talking about because they thought that was the end.
Right.
But then when outside began to open back up, it happened back. It's like, this ain't it yet, you know? But what we're seeing now is that's open to see everybody start to realize, yo, they all they're talking about the R5 shit. Now look, that's in everybody. That truckload cabinet is about to bring that shit in. You see his whole cabinet dealing with AI, tech, and these main niggas are the ones being used to set all this stuff. So
before they can mandate it, they got to set up the infrastructure. They need to set up the plumbing first.
Exactly. One part of that was dope. When Trump brought Elon in, that wasn't to go find what the money doing. Everybody's digital footprint. They can have that on file. So now we're going forward. We're seeing AI take off, Sora, open AI, everything, chat. Getting people used to it. All right. You see it's AI on every app on the phone now. So every avenue in your life. Because now it's getting you conditioned. That's why people
That's the game plan. The so-called white man is going to set up a digital infrastructure, and AI is going to be the taskmaster. And it's going to, in real time, take out, deduct from your bank account. You jaywalk. You speed past a meeting. Your money. You speak against this system. You're done. It's like China and the social credit system. If you speak against China, they had a documentary where this journalist was speaking against the Chinese government, and he can't even leave a 5-hour radio station. He can't buy a plane ticket, he can't buy a train ticket. He lucky he can buy groceries. So they got that kind of power.
They just had a statement by Larry Fink, who's the CEO of BlackRock, who said that now the time for tokenization is here. You know, they start to tokenize all the assets of America, chiefly the monetary system. And what's getting ready to happen, he's looking forward to issuing in a new digital age, starting with the digital ID. And eventually, the monetary system is going to go to a digital form of currency. And that currency is going to be dictated by the government. And he was saying, I got the title of the article right here. He said, this is a statement from Larry Fink. He said, we're at the beginning of the tokenization of all assets. Now he's promoting the digital IDs. He says, later on, he says,
side of integration, the word token says integration. They're bringing everything into that piece system. So we'll have eyes on everything. You know, the AI is the Lord fucking Esau's angel. So they're gonna have eyes on everything that you're able to do, man.
Yeah, that's why they call it the internet, bro. It's a spider with 8 legs, 1 head, and many arms. That's what it is. And they trapped us in that net when the first time they started opening it up in 89, 88. Y'all on point. Y'all the first Israelite that comes and talk about real stuff. I appreciate you. Shalom.
That's a tribute to our apostles. Our apostles hit the ground running, and it was always about what we living through now. They were the seriousness of it now. They had that in the 80s when it was on Demolition Man, and people was laughing and pointing and they sci-fi creatures and they laughing and making jokes. Shit ain't fun now. That's why a lot of judgments gonna happen because a lot of things started getting back in the 80s, 90s. The Drewskis of the world that get back. This ain't a game.
Two movies, Demolition Man and John and the Money. Yeah, John and the Money. You know, read that. He had that CEO, man.
Esau was showing you all that shit back then. Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
With the virtual reality and being so tapped into a video game to just block out the world. That's why the video games getting better. Esau mindset is like, you're not going to own shit. You're not going to be able to go nowhere, but I'm going to give you a virtual one that you can explore.
I see the commercial today. Got the Black Ops 7 now. They were like, hey, get you some Little Caesars, and they help you get some vouchers so you can play some benefits with a DLC pack to the Black Ops 7. All you gotta do come to Little Caesars and hey, PlayStation and pizza.
I ain't gonna show you because like I said, that integration is happening it's getting you in the system in multiple ways. It's just grabbing you in the system.
Yeah.
PR. VR really started coming out a few years ago, I don't know if y'all tried that. That shit trippy. I think something. Like, it's like, yo, you literally in a different world, bro. Yeah, that's like that movie, Red Dead 1. Yeah, it's like you said, you just will enjoy that shit so much that you don't need to real life.
They're gonna let you start doing whatever you want to do. They're gonna stay in the system, stay in the career, and continue playing GTA 6 or 7. Lord, when we get it.
Hey, you see the conditioning though, how they get you? Hey, NBA 2K, my players, you got the little the Madden version of it. You got all these RPG games, so soon you ain't gonna need to make a play. The play gonna be you. Right. You know, you gonna have to pay for the add-ons and everything else like you see now, man.
What's the movie with the blue guy? Ryan Reynolds?
Oh yeah.
Free guy.
Free guy?
Yep.
Free guy, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Now to land back Carter's point, this is from AI Overview. It says, tokenizing an asset means creating a digital token on a blockchain that represents a real world or financial asset, converting ownership rights into a tradable digital form.
And that all ties into the social credit system. Because over there in China, like what Nahali was explaining, what happens is if you have a low social credit score, you're basically ostracized from that society. Yeah. So basically, simple luxuries or different amenities that normal people in that society receive, you've been ostracized. You can't live in certain areas. You can't have certain jobs. You don't have access to certain educational programs, and so on and so forth. That's the same thing that's migrating over here to America. And he made that statement. Blackwater is one of the top companies in the world when it comes to Ford and wickedness. And there's now the CEO, Larry Fink, is talking about, he's promoting digital IDs in the form of being able, I got the excerpt from the paragraph, it says, to the new monetary financial system, quietly transforming the world, digitalizing all assets and money in the form of a digital, trackable, traceable, emission token traded on the blockchain ledgers. So what they plan on doing is making this digital currency, tying it to your data, tying it to your social credit, your ID, who you are, and then basically saying, hey, if you speak about this government now, you on the chopping block. Hey, if you're speaking against America, you got a testimony against Babylon, get his ass out, get his ass out of here. You know, if he's speaking about whatever, get him out of here. That's the type of infrastructure that's being set right now.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. It says that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast shall both speak, cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast shall be killed.
Right. And those who don't want to worship the image of the beast are going to be ostracized. They're going to be killed in this up and coming society. Because what Esau has in his engineering is his Godhead in the planet Earth. That's his whole mentality. And it lays it out in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. He wants to be as God. And how is he going about to accomplish that? By technology. All right, in order to be omnipotent in this earthly vessel, omnipotent and omnipresent, he's going to put that chip out. So he can track you. Now he has power over you, what you buy, what you sell, what you do. That makes him omnipotent and omnipresent in a sense. And that's what he's trying to accomplish. And if you don't want to get down with that, you're going to be killed.
That's going to start with you being kicked out of the society. Because without it, that's going to put it real quick.
So the Greek word for kill in that verse is a pakteno, and it says to kill in any way, whatever. Now when you go to the root word, it's G575, apo, it says on separation.
Yeah. When we separated, that's right. Like Lee Mill had made a point. He was talking about, pretty much they want to hurt you, they hit your bank. That's it. You know? So think about it. If they hit your bank account, that's your livelihood. You can't pay the bills. You can't do nothing. You can't buy something. So if you truly say that you're against this system, then that means that you're not going to take that shit with you. You're not going to be able to participate in Esau's new world. So that's why the separation now is being made in the spirit. The true believers and those that's faking. Because the true believers, we're going to have to truly walk out on faith and make sure that we're not going to bend. You're going to be trying to see how long you go without eating. Make that 2 days how long, you know. You got to worry about your health being taken care of with you. All that, like, that's when the carnal man just puts the back seat and the spiritual man takes the driver's seat.
That's the second wind. Yeah, that's what the elect have. They have a second wind. So when shit hits the fan, of course, your flesh is going to have this little anxiety, but then the spirit that you're being brought up in and trained in the spirit with all of your own personal ups and downs, you've been forced to lean on the Lord all the way up to this moment. So when it happens, you have a second wind to lean on, whereas everybody else, they put their hope in this place. So when this place falls, their confidence falls with it.
And that's why the Lord said in Isaiah 33, that wisdom and knowledge will be the security of our time, and the fear of the Lord is our treasure. Coming into these days, the fear of the Lord is a treasure. Many people don't have the fear of the Lord. They have the fear of the circumstance. But when it comes to the actual fear of the Lord who's bringing the torment, they don't have that fear. Which is why they're going to perish. They don't have the wisdom and knowledge to keep them stable. The Lord mentioned earlier about how we're building our house on a solid foundation. You know, when the winds begin to beat, floods come, we have that stability of faith, of wisdom, and understanding to get us through these times. Just like in 2020. Brothers lost jobs, brothers lost opportunities, women, whatever it may be. Right, but the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh outside, and the faith kept brothers afloat. They kept you upright. Now, the same thing is going to happen in these upcoming days. Wisdom and knowledge is going to be paramount. Because fear of the unknown creates anxiety. So anxiety breeds rash decisions. And a lot of people are going to make a rash decision to take that decision.
Most of the world's going to find out about this mark through their employees. That's where, how conformity will begin. Yeah, and it's already beginning to a certain degree with social media policy. So a lot of jobs, you may not even have noticed what you signed. A lot of these jobs are saying, look, you got to sign a social media agreement that says that you don't say anything negative on the internet. Even if it's on your own personal device, you can't say anything negative on the internet. And that's to protect them from paying you unemployment. If you say something out of line and you crash out in public, and they use like so-called white supremacists, they use a lot of different scenarios, but it's really aimed towards this truth. And that's the Lord using that to go ahead and remove the truth. Because the famine of the word is also going to happen. And the Lord's going to put the spirit on Esau to start censoring more and more to what his truth is really hard to access. People take for granted how easy it is to access this truth right now because they have the comfort of having it in abundance. But the Lord's going to turn that flood into a desert.
And I mean, so it's, my old gig, they had a policy in place to where they said if you get caught on social media defaming basically the company, you got a company logo on your thing, you caught defaming, it's a $3,000 fine. And you brought the court. Hey, that was in the books. And like they said, you don't realize when you sign it, but you signed that. And so when you out here with the testimony outside, they allow you to say, hey, don't you work for me? Come here. Let me get that check up. And we've seen how men fold when that check gets going low. Kyrie Irving, Kanye West, Nick, what's his name? Nick Cannon, all these men. When the check got low, the hungriness showed, man.
See the video that cops showed up at this guy's doorstep and posted something on social media, and he was just reiterating what the international courts have been doing for the last year. He has to do that. He's lost the information narrative. He's lost the appearance of being a good guy. He's lost it. So the only thing he can do is keep the lie in place by force. So if you don't agree with the lie, you just cut off. You get no benefits, which is open bribery. That's all the system is creating. Open bribery and hypocrisy. Because it was good. Freedom of speech was cool when you benefited from it. Now that you're losing from the privilege of free speech, now you're going to censor it. But it's all the spirit of the Lord, because this truth was never meant to be out here forever. It was out here for a season, for the elect sake. Word is going to reach the four corners of the earth, and the end will come. Right? But as the end, we're starting to see, the Amos 8:11, the family of the word, man. Because like you said, this truth was never meant to be long-lasting thing. I always say this, this truth is constant. It's an esoteric, non-sensitive thing that was only given to a small group of people. And once that was given, I was starting to see, take it back. Because we're seeing what the masses are doing. Disrespectful, they're taking for granted on what the Lord is doing. So I keep reiterating
videos every day. There's only a controversial ones that come out. Jake don't care. It's going out like that. All these videos that have been out about is highlighting, showing the Lord is using it for marketing.
That's it. Answer your point. Because a prime example of that is that Jake that came up to the elders in Dallas on Friday.
Yeah.
I want to show you, you don't really know what they're a part of. The only videos they watch is the ones where it's action. You know, they cutting Esau, they doing this, that, and third. But the edifying videos going into the history, going into prophecy, those are things that Jake don't pay attention to. They don't tune into, and it shows. And that's a very scary state to be in, especially in the times we're living in now. To not know what you're a part of and to not know what the will of the Lord, that's scary, man.
Yeah, because this was never meant for entertainment. Nah, it was to prepare your spirit for what's about to actually happen. That's why the scriptures say all these things are written for our learning, that we might have hope. Because in a moment of uncertainty, you're going to need hope to stay grounded. And that's why the Lord prepared the elect to say, look, this going to happen, don't trip. Don't lose your cool, this going to happen to you, this going to happen to you. When you see it, just know. The transition, we're going from faith to faith. Jake is stuck in first gear, not realizing that this was never meant to stay in first gear. It was meant to go from faith to faith. From the preaching of the word to the Lord's demonstration of it.
And that's why I said something earlier about the uncertainty.
You know, the fear of the unknown. You know, the fear of the unknown brings about anxiety. You know, when people are uncertain about their next situation or their next move, that brings about anxiety. And anxiety brings about rash decisions.
Those rash decisions are going to get Jake fucked up out here because, like the scriptures, Isaiah 41:14, and then Joshua like 1 and 9, tell you the Lord is going, he's with us. That's why when you're put in that, man, what the hell am I going to do? Like I said, an area to where you did all you could do. Now it's the Lord's hand. You know that he got you. Like this quote, it says, as I see it, this is the way the Most High works. He purposely and deliberately works in a way that contradicts the way men reason. We must have an environment of impossibility before we can listen to work. That simply is the way the Most High is the manner in which he works. Yes.
That's why.
Yeah. It says, as I see it, this is the way the Most High works.
Because that's how the Lord shows your intellect is not higher than his. So you can't reason within yourself and understand the Lord. He's beyond your comprehension. So the Lord uses uncertainty to confirm that in your own mind. So you don't think that you and the Lord right here. That's what most people think. They think them and the Lord. Their brain and the Lord brain is like right here. So that's why people don't have a fear of him. Because they look at him as an equal. He's not your equal.
Real quick, can you get that Isaiah 55?
It's Isaiah 55 and verse 7. Verse 8 it says, my thoughts, verse 7, Isaiah 55 and 7, let the wicked forsake his way and the unrighteous man his thoughts.
Right, and what's that going into? Jake, you think you know it. Like you think you are above, what the Most High has put, our people in. Meaning that you think that you are in the same boat as Moses, as King David, all right? All the men of renown, you think you are there, but bro, you're a regular commoner. The Most High, we don't know who the Most High really dealing with on this side. So for Jake to put themselves in that mind like they know the Lord, you got to put yourself in the mind of the Lord. As we don't know anything. And that sponge was sunk up with it.
I'm going to go straight to the point. Isaiah 55 and 8 it says, for my thoughts. Isaiah 55 and 7, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him.
Right, so he didn't be born again. He truly born again. He washed with the word. All right, the true baptism, not getting your head dunking in some chlorinated water. Right? You got to be truly born again, which means you let the old man die, and now you're walking in the newness of the Spirit, becoming that new creature of Mashiach.
Because the reality is that the old man was fashioned after Esau.
Exactly.
That is the reality of what the old man was. It was fashioned according to Esau's mind. And that's why the washing of his word takes that bullshit away, excuse my French, and it gives you the proper eyesight and a proper understanding. And now you're being fashioned after the image of the Lord. Because There's no in between. You either being fashioned after Esau or you're being fashioned after the Lord. There is no gray area. I don't care if you're Chinese or Japanese, Arab, it don't matter. You're being fashioned after Esau. When this beast system is implemented, it's going to be implemented everywhere. Nobody's going to be able to stay.
Even before we get to that point, the fact of how you're brought up. Because these other nations don't even keep their own customs anymore. They dress like Esau, they talk like Esau, they come over there, they shave their face, they cut their hair, they look like a so-called white man. Suit, all that bullshit, but you have to understand the way that the Lord created the people. You do that by learning, all right, your foundation, learning the milk. And then as you grow in the milk, you begin to nourish the bones. Like once the breath is put there, it's the process of being put up again, like a baby. As you grow in the fetus, everything starts forming and then it comes out as a person. That's kind of like how you have to be spiritually.
That's where proper reasoning comes from. Yeah. It's from being reborn, and once we're reborn, like it says in John the 3rd chapter, he said you got to be reborn. And once you come back as a new from the grave, you desire the sense of the milk, more nourished, more brought up, and the proper reasoning of the Lord, the intellect of the Lord, and how the Lord reasons and how He thinks about things. You know, where our minds are transformed, and we leave off from what we taught the world, because the world taught us something else.
A good example is the Matrix. All right, you was Mr. Smith in the world. The Lord pulls you out the Matrix. Now you Neo. Now you're figuring out how to move in the real world for real. All right, you're learning how to truly see. You're learning how to truly think. Because even that, you people don't even think original thoughts. You know everything that you thought was implanted into your mind. And why do you think you're being hit with subliminals every day, all day? Man? You know, because you are being conditioned to be a product of the kingdom. Of the Lord, as the scripture said, it's enchantment is great right. So once you come back into the pavilion of the Lord, you're protected from those things. The spirit and mercy of the Lord. To add to that, because I did a video on this. It was this ex-witch that was saying when she used to put personal people in there. Whatnot, she said the only people that she couldn't hex was pretty much the true Christians. All right, because they said that whenever they would send the demons on them, they would have a blue barrier around them. You know, to prevent the demons from infecting us. And that was the one that was truly connected with the power. So that's us. So that's what I said. There's no enchantment against Jacob because we have that spiritual power. And that's why the Lord told us not to fear those things.
Our job, Lord, when we be a part of that number, is to reverence and fear the Lord. Everything else is the circumstance that the Lord is already in control of. So we going straight to, the Lord has allowed us to go straight to the source, which is Him. And that's why you've been trained up your life. The moment you come into this truth, you go through peaks and valleys. You go through highs and lows. Continually. It's like seasons. Every brother goes through a season of peaks and valleys. And what that does is it forces you to have an instinct of trust in the Lord. It forces you to embrace valleys and appreciate peace. So when this shit falls and hits the fan, we understand, oh yeah, it's time to go. And the Lord's already spiritually detached the elect from this place. So you're not attached to the possession. They can keep it. It's not ours anyway. We can't even take the body.
Isaiah 55 and verse 7 in the latter, it says, and to our power, for He will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord.
Right. That's why at the end of the day, you have to totally renew your ways of thinking because you don't have the Lord to figure it out. You know, Jake think they crack the code to where they can get a fast on the Lord. No. The Lord sees all, He knows all. That's what He knows the thought that you're gonna do before you think it. You know, so you don't understand the game or the situation that you're in. The game is playing. The Lord has you figured out. So that being said, that you best just play by the the set of rules the Lord gave you and watch our prophecy unfold. You know?
Wrong time. I got this is 1 Corinthians 1 and 21 in the NLT. It says, since the Most High in His wisdom saw to it that the world would never know Him through human wisdom, He has used our foolish preaching to save those who believe.
And why that? Because He says the wisdom follows the word of God, that wisdom can't enter into the malicious soul. So if your mind is fashioned after the Edomite way of thinking, until you get rid of that and become a newborn babe in the spirit, you're not going to comprehend the word that's being spoken. That's why, as we read earlier, Phil Zion with some other people from oracles. Hey, the oracles are coming to pass as we speak, as for the whole world to see, but they can't see it because their spirit can't with it. You know? That's why I look at this book of fairy tale.
That's why I look the way I look to a carnal man.
Yeah.
Carnal men will see it as ignorant, they'll see it as base. But look at what you glorify, look at what you applaud. There's a world of gross darkness. The darkness and lies have been normalized, and the truth is outcast.
Bro, I'll give an example. You niggas still think that sports is real. Yeah. All this gambling that's coming out, you know, it's getting exposed, all this shit. A nigga will fight you down to show you, nah, bro, this shit is real. Boxing, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, whatever avenue, bro, Esau has to this entertainment shit. It's bread and circus. It's meant to keep your mind from seeing what's really going on.
That's wrong 101.
Right.
Which shows you this is the revival in the empire. That was their go-to. Greatest. Right. Kind of showed you that in the movie Young. You watch that movie, it shows you the relationship between the gladiator game and the NFL. How the NFL is just a sanitized version of gladiator.
And brother said earlier that how the people won, this is a marvelous work. This is a marvelous work that's taking place. And this is truly respectable because we have men who are coming out of this reasoning of the world and into the reasoning of the Lord. And it's like, how are they doing it? There's so much better, there's so many distractions that have been put out here to keep us in the shots out for the time that he's going to bring. You have men that have this testimony bringing up like the world for us. It's like, man, how are they doing this? How are they getting out of the matrix? How are they breaking the veil being set over?
Y'all heard of the animation? I heard about it. It's an episode that I don't understand, but it's Jake, the brother, so pretty much he was about to like break the record or whatever, and he ended up tearing the muscles in his feet. He said rollerboard. He said rollerboard at the end of the show. It's still off the matrix. He gets up and like takes a step and then sits back down to show you. He's still trying to fight with him. He broke out and then they got him back in. So he's showing he still had to fight him.
And the Lord left that fight within the remnant. Otherwise, we would have been overtaken. But the Lord left that fight, that sense of purpose, that sense of duty within a remnant to pick up the mantle in the latter days and to carry it to the end until Yahweh returns. Because the Spirit didn't leave. It was just docile for a minute. You know, it was just docile until the Lord saw fit to turn it back up. And now the spirits are being turned back up and truth is starting to flourish.
There's a lot of ancient spirits back on the earth. A lot of ancient men, a lot of ancient prophets are on the earth. The show this destruction is about to further exceed the first one in Egypt. The Lord got the prophets out in abundance back in this lifetime to push the word for the season finale.
Wickedness. And I hear the names of Yahweh all the time. Crazy, bro.
Just imagine what David been through in the land. Boy, if you can see what's going on now amongst the circumcision now, just imagine what was going on in the land. That's why the Lord had to send nations to just start killing each other, starving.
We get that example in Ezekiel 8. We do the whole, right? And what's the whole today? The internet. You know? So we see everything Jake doing all throughout the world.
Him against him in the streets. Go ahead, read it into. Howbeit, he meaneth not so, right? Neither doeth his heart think so, right? But it is in his heart to the right. So, hey, going back to Rock CG, it's a hey, right. So, hey, going back to Rock CG, it's a hey, he that one of understanding think of a vain thing. Go ahead.
He said his mind will understand that he's my king. Right. And he can't comprehend the thoughts of the Lord. He thinking that he power and word.
which is just in judgment.
You think he's a God?
But this nigga think he just doing some wicked thing. No, you work for the Lord.
It's Isaiah 10:7, but the king of Assyria will not understand that he is my tool. His mind does not work that way. His plan is simply to destroy, to cut down nation after nation. And he's doing it. The Lord is saying, look, niggas don't even know. He think it's him.
Right.
But it's only until the Lord really deviate from his plan, because right now everything Esau is doing is according to what he believes he planned. But eventually the Lord will take the wheel and be like, yeah.
Right, be the law of justice.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to Alexander.
Right.
His mind couldn't comprehend until the Lord made his ass deviate. He thought he had more than 12 years, even up here. And 12 years, he was thinking in the future. The Lord gave that nigga 12 years. Who was that? Antiochus. Antiochus. His mind couldn't comprehend it. Lord, you had him right from the inside out.
I'm a believer.
Yeah, because at the end he said, we're going to worship their God, man. They need to do something. No, hell no.
Isaiah 44:24. Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heaven alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by himself, that frustrateth the tokens of liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backwards, and maketh a knowledge foolish. That confirmeth the word of his servants.
And are we not in that time? Where the words that the Lord put in the mouths of our apostles are now being reality in our life. That's confirming the words of the prophet. In his sermon, which are his sermons. And we're in that time, and guess what? It gets greater. If we not stop, Lord willing to be a part of that number, they don't stop now. They don't get greater. It's going to go from being words to actual action. Exactly. Because the Lord is putting up a kingdom. Whether this world understands that or not is irrelevant. But a kingdom being built, it starts off with wisdom. And that's why you're seeing the wisdom first. And then it's going to grow and evolve from there.
Hey, the scripture talks about intercontinental disposition. And that was the conspiracy. And our FIC wasn't a conspiracy. But they using missiles every day to kill. They testing missiles every day. Motherfuckers got to see him for real.
That movie House of Dynamite. They walk in there, they call it a regular day. You know, breakfast sandwich. You only got the line. You got bigger problems. And that's how it's going to be. But they're going to go out to work one day, and everything that they know is going to be different. And they never saw it coming.
That's all because the Bible is being demystified. Everything that was once a mystery, everything that people thought was referring to, is now an actual reality. People, people over in Afghanistan right now, their whole family got bombed. Uncle, auntie, nieces, nephews, it's through.
Two generations wiped out.
You got some people in Venezuela right now bartering their future for some bananas. Right now. These things are happening and people think that it's so visual, it's so cheap over here in America that hey, ain't nothing really going on. But evils are growing in the midst.
Isaiah 44:26. And performing the words of the servant and performing the counsel of his messenger. Isaiah 44:26. And performing the word of his servant and performing the counsel of his messenger.
The Lord is performing the counsel of the messenger, which is the prophecy. The Lord said they shall see all together. But it was at the end. In 2 Corinthians 6:2, they say, we shall see the world as it wait. Then shall I show thee the token. And then in 2 Corinthians 14, it talks about watch how much the world should be people through age. So as the Lord weakened the earth from the hands of the so-called white man, it from the prophecy now.
So Wisdom of Solomon 12:17. For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength. And among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest.
That's the Lord confirming the word of his servant and performing the count of his message. It's all about prophecy. There ain't no damn conspiracy, man.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what was holding, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let.
And it said the mystery of iniquity. Hey, this ties to somebody. And in Micah 2 and 3, the Lord say, do he devise an evil against this family? Who's the family? Now you got to go and find out who this family is.
I got one.
It say they are cursed. Right? Isaiah 34:5. The cursed people. Right. Go ahead.
It's Malachi 1 and 4 in the NLT. Esau's descendants in Edom may say, we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the roof. But the Lord has armies to fly. They may try to, but I will demolish them again.
Hey, look at Isaiah 14:21. It's a because scarlet against his children for iniquity of fathers that did not rise, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Who filled the face of the earth with cities? Go ahead.
It says, their country will be known as the land of wickedness.
It's America. Everything goes in America, man. You can worship any idol. You can follow any religion. Hey, as long as it's in the laws and the penal code of the self-proclaimed white man, you can do it. Now they got bestiality laws in 10 states. You can take a donkey or a mule and go into a hotel. Give us room 320. Go ahead.
And
They got that overseas though. They got dog products.
Right. It says, and their people will be called the people with whom the Lord is forever angry.
Hey, the so-called white man, that's the crocodile, an alligator, man. The self-proclaimed white man did that, man.
He figured out how to pop a snake.
Yeah, what's Jimmy John. Hey, they doing that for real, man. Read that line again, the one.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse
Because it said the mystery of iniquity, that's all I want. The mystery of iniquity have already worked. Because these devils, what do they search out iniquity. That's all they do because they only can think on the main thing. So he's supposed to go completely left. Oh, what's that song? They tell you their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. This got it. Because that's why the Lord set up the prophets to go against these fellas. No. That's why the Lord set up the prophets to go against these iniquities, to tell the truth of the matter.
So you gotta think this man convinced the whole world that Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were the problem while being the vilest man on earth. At the same time, while literally being the villain, convinced the whole world that Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the good people.
This nigga has a known trafficking ring, child trafficking ring. They got you to be more mad and think. You want to find out what people them empty with. This nigga, hey, Esau figured out how to play with people's mind. He's a psychopath.
Scripture said that he would be loosed a little season to deceive the nation. It didn't say he would try. The scripture said that if it were possible, he would deceive the very elect. Which shows you that everybody else is under darkness.
And how over that now? It's figured out. If he created this shit down to where you can't even tell what it's gonna take. AI is getting so good now, but the thing is, you gotta study it. Make sure that shit ain't gonna be no bullshit.
Well, one thing that's gonna happen with AI is Esau used it as you go to a bathing suit. You got people in it using it now because it's useful. It'll give you legit information. But all he has to do is start changing the algorithm. But your mind is already convinced that it's giving you truth. So anything you ask and it gives you a reply, you will automatically get the truth. So all you gotta do is simply change the algorithm to spit out his mirror. And you're done. But right now, to get everybody in, like a cunning hunter, he said, look. And it's legit. It'll give you real answers.
But it's a matter of time before we close that door to it. We see it. Because people think that AI is this shit is a weapon. That game, Metal Gear Solid, the thing that AI was an original weapon. They're going to use that. Pretty much, they got the voice. You get a spam call, you answer the phone, and you're just silent for 5 to 10 seconds. They get your voice. So that they can use that to try to, like for example, you had a woman on TikTok. Pretty much, she was saying how they created a video of her critiquing somebody else's content, but she never made a video with it. It's like the Jake that the Homeland Security lied on, said that he called out ICE. That video came out months ago, and he was talking about Iran. So they're going to be able to use AI to pretty much personally predict. That's beginning already.
And the Spanish Inquisition is coming back in a big way. Right. He goes back to the Native Americans, we'll find out the law and the Spanish development.
Wisdom of Solomon 2, and verse 14 it says, he was made to improve our thoughts. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways and from filthiness. We pronounce the end of the just and the blessed, and make this boast that God is his father. And that's why the prophets were set in place, to go and to reprove the iniquity and the secret counsel of the wicked. Because without the prophets, the world would be driven into a complete state of chaos.
We see that now.
Oh yeah.
Habakkuk 1:4 tells that. Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 4. It says, therefore the law is slack, and judgment doeth never go forth, for the wicked doeth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. And because the true judges of the earth, because of Israelites are not in the palace, there's no true righteousness going on there. There's no truth on it. This is why there's lies and everything, man. And when you come into the truth, the scriptures talk about be not ignorant of anything small or great. About 5:15. So when you begin to look into things that you never really thought about, and you find out that shit go back to some wicked shit, and that's just going to show you the levels of fucked up we are in society, man. You know, Jake, things not even think about, like, niggas like, knock on wood. That shit go back to your check, man. You know, certain things that you say, the English language is witchcraft, right? Curse will say every day for no reason. You know, so it's a mind fuck all the way down to the bottom.
I was talking before him, and instantly like this, this I was going into like controversy behind like the album was here was they basically a whole court order. But the gist is from a child up, Jake is taught to quell down the spirit, to appease everybody else. You gotta quell down your spirit and conform to everything else in order to be accepted in society. Yeah, you gotta sing us a song of Zion. You gotta instruct your child. You gotta use your child and willingly be exploited in order for you to be appreciated, semi-appreciated. That's the wickedness that we were taught in this world. Israelite man is only a utility. They grew up their whole life just thinking that they're supposed to provide, pay bills for some witch and her kids. That's me. Jake think his whole life, he worked his whole life for 30, 40 years just to leave off his inheritance to a woman that's going to be married again.
They don't preach it because of your talent. You got to have dirt on it.
They got to.
You got to get this bad, then over.
That video that used to go around and took the tape, top of the tape. Y'all seen that? Oh yeah. You wake up with one sock on and up. And you don't want to sign the contract.
So you don't want that shit, huh? You gonna sell the deal.
That's the wickedness of this world, man. And Jake don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. Because all of this is meant to keep Jake defined and conformed. And it shows you how strong we are as a nation of people if we decide to go this far, to do this, to keep us contained. He ain't putting this kind of effort into the Edomites, the East Indians. He ain't putting this much effort into them. That's how you use the strongest nation on the planet. The elder show, the younger show be strong enough. I'll show that the children of Israel, with a strong live nation, we just went off. And that's why the Lord said we're going to like lions among sheep when you turn to how about
Ecclesiastes 30, 22. Gladness of the heart is the life of a man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
gladness of the heart is the life of man. And we experience a level of peace of mind, joy that money can't buy. Right? That's why Yahushua said, my peace I give unto you, not as the world. Because what can the world give you concerning peace? They may give you a bag, but then the worry starts of keeping you. They may give you a vacation, but you can only stay there so long, and they can only see beauty for so long. Everything here is a honeymoon. It goes and then you get used to it, and now it's just regular. For the peace of Yahushua, there is no regular to it. Because as the world is changing, you're still being able to be grounded, whether you have a little bit or a lot. You go through all these types of ups and downs. Your peace is never diminished in that process. And that's what the Lord has been teaching us for our trials and tribulations. So look, stay grounded. It's going to happen, it's going to go up and down, but you believe me, right? All right, then, let's go.
Ecclesiastes 30 and 23. Love thy own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee. For sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
Yeah, so you can't have that. There is no reason to really have awards in the spirit. When you zoom out, our forefathers waited lifetimes to get here. Imagine Daniel first getting that vision. You had to talk to this shit. You got the Lord told him, look, you got to see this far. You got to die. You got to be born into the latter days. But we ain't there yet. We're here.
Hey, that's what the Lord told Daniel. He said, shut the book and seal it to the end. You got to come back and stand in your light at the end of the day.
Like, that made him sick. That vision made him sick to his stomach. He was like, damn, because he realized he had to realize, damn, I'm not the hell.
Yeah. And not understanding it either. But he didn't understand it.
That made him like, it made him sick. He like, look,
See, the Lord is telling us, look, sorrow don't do nothing for you. Now, there's a godly sorrow, but the sorrow or the depression of living in this world, that should not be a part of your walk as much as it was in the past. Right. Because whenever that happens, you should be able to have that money, that spiritual money in your bank account and be like, it hurt right now, but the Lord got to pick it up. That's when you can pull into your spiritual bank account and remember, oh, yeah, the Lord got to pick it up. This shit hurt right now. All right, cool. But the Lord got to pick it up.
Hey, you know what it is? Hey, in second, give me 2 Ezra 14, right? Because all it is man-made problems. I was just thinking about this shit today. Everything that we go through is fucking man-made problems. That's why I tell you for us prayer, it said forgive our debtors, right? As we forgive our debt. Who the fuck is the debtors? We don't own shit. The Lord like, hey, just increase your patience. Pray to me to increase your patience. All we going through is fucking man-made problems. That shit don't got nothing to do with the Lord looking at.
Right, it's the weak nature.
It's the weak nature.
That's why it's described as weak nature, because you're the son of God. Right. How is the son of God getting caught up in the same worries of regular men?
Right.
That we go back to it's that depression. Right. Depression, your eyes off the problem. You see it on the moment. Man-made problem. You know, but the man wearing the account balance can not only tap into that bank account, but also focus on the grace.
Right.
Lord, still, you wake up every day, still know who the Lord is. Still know the understanding of the scripture. You on a high level in the Lord of Jesus. Why are you talking?
That's why, man, I've been all day today. I'm like, man, this fucking man-made problem, I don't want to make this trip.
It makes your whole day up for nothing, man.
For nothing, bro.
Scripture tells you to fly not yourself a good day, man. Every day is a beautiful testimony of what the Lord has done for you, man. All day is that.
Hey, I told us a while back, every day is a good day, man. It's a good day. I be telling them niggas at the plantation, they don't know why it's a good day, but it's a good day for me. Because I woke up with the name of the Lord and I understand prophecy. And this is true.
See prophecy is bad, man.
And that's why I say every day is a good day. Every day is a good day. We are the children of the king. Lord, we need to be a part of that. And that means when you, like the point you made, keep your eye on the prize. If you know that part, you don't hyper-focus on Jacob's trouble. You remember the prize at the end, the salvation, the rest. You're like, oh, yeah, this is how close we're closer than ever. To see how it shot.
Look at the counterbalance. Because at one point, when Babylon was at the peak, everything was a Edomite. Being white was in. You know, fever, you know, and all that bullshit.
Give me Proverbs 21.
But now, look at it. It's the same to be an Edomite.
Yeah.
It's to the point to where they're having to lean into that narrative of everything we're saying about them. These niggas are racist. They like that documentary, what the Brutes, what's the name of it?
Oh yeah,
Exterminate all the Brutes. Like, they have to lean into all the things that we're saying because they have no way of it. And that's why you see these Christians talk about y'all should be thankful y'all were enslaved. We did something for y'all, more than us. Y'all be able to grab huts. Not realizing that, well, we're Israelites. Well, we had palaces even in the wilderness. What you talking about, man?
Read that real quick. Taught you what you know.
Exactly.
Proverbs 20:21. An inheritance may be gotten hastily at the beginning.
This is how the so-called white man got the kingdom. He got the hasten. Little Alexander the Greek, right? One more time, huh?
Proverbs 20:21. An inheritance may be gotten hastily at the beginning.
An inheritance is the land. And Alexander the Greek conquered all the known world. Hastily, in the beginning, go ahead.
But the end thereof shall not be blessed.
But the end of it, hey, now we see the end of the so-called white man's kingdom. It's blessed, it's cursed, man.
And it shows that, like it says in Isaiah 47, he didn't see the latter end.
That's it.
So everything that he's doing now is trying to save faith. And he can't. He can't.
The history is the history. You ate people. You did too much.
Way too much.
You did too much to hop in 2025 with an excuse for that shit.
Right. And so now they have no choice but to lean into it.
Exactly.
That's why
You take your mask off.
that's it. And the mask is off.
Take your mask off.
Trump is showing you his true colors. That orange one, you know, the red. That red man is beginning to see himself as that devil. They're not hiding no more. It's only Jake that still thinks that he's playing a role. Like, this nigga still got love for him. You can't see that by this point. He's just gonna get mowed down, man.
I said my people are flock led to the slaughter.
Exactly.
When a flock is led to the slaughter, they don't know they walking to die. They get there and then it's
Another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
There's Proverbs 28 and 16 in the NLT. A ruler with no understanding will oppress his people, but one who hates corruption will have the wrong life. And the ruler that we have, which is the so-called white man, is a man that has no understanding. You know, the reason when you look at the world at large, the reason there's no wisdom is because they were separated from their heritage. Wisdom is a part of our heritage. Now, as we wake back up in the spirit, wisdom is starting to engulf the planet as we return to our heritage.
He's showing you that he can't rule. This is why everything that he's doing is brought forth definitely. You know, like you said, we as a people, we make everything go up. You know, every invention that we see being used today, it was made in a righteous way. We saw perverted. So you go from electricity. Nikola Tesla was, I believe, was a Jake. But you know, he created energy to be used pretty for everybody. He saw that now we can't have it. We can't make money off of it. Another thing with these devils, they practice something called predatory capitalism. Where pretty much if they see something that's not being occupied by them, that's money being wasted. So now they gotta go and get that to themselves so they can make money off of it. And it's okay. Right. You know?
That's why they create the patent system.
Exactly.
Copyright as well. Proverbs 20 and 26. A wise king scattereth the wicked and bringeth the wheel over them. You don't see that in America.
Right. Hey, you know more about these criminals than you do that so-called, good people. You know? Right. And that's the problem. That's why nobody has fear. Because if the law was upheld like you just said, and wickedness would be done away with, because people will fear, that's what happens to people. That's why overseas, these damn women know they go from the Middle East and they can't go back. You know, they go back, they're gonna die. They tell you that. You know? Because once you become Americanized, you're a poison to their society. You got to tell me otherwise when you go off your life. That's for the men too. Right.
Growing up, you believe in the tooth fairy, you believe in Santa Claus, you believe in this whole switch shit, you believe in Halloween, all this. Why don't you train your child in our ways, in our heritage? You see how impressionable young children are. Imagine if the children was being taught about our history, how much they would love to look up to our forefathers, Moses, Daniel, Yahushua. Bro, that would make a huge difference with our youth.
It's not role models like Michael Jordan, you know, not realizing what the shit they have to do to get them to that position. This nigga killed his father, man, and get them that championship. You know, these people sit basically, they bend over, they kill people, sacrifice people, not. But you're seeing them as glorified because you see what they have. And in society, the criminals, because really the wicked people on the earth, they're looked at as gods up there, really. The Edomites, hopefully. Because people look at Esau like they can still go wrong. All this shit that comes out every year about the money that's being stolen, children that's being taken, everything wicked they're doing, not the bombing, all this shit going on over in Israel, we still can't do a small act of popularity.
Because like the other person went into, people esteem Esau because he seems like he's blessed. You see, because they see what he has right now, and they can't perceive anything else. So Ecclesiastes or Sirach 11, verse 28, it says, "Judge not blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his tooth."
Right. You look at these people like they winning. They're winning in the front, like we talked about earlier about gaining that American history. They got everything on the front, but they never think about the back end. You don't think about the judgment that's about to fall these people. You know, all these celebrities all have the same downfall. They start getting into trouble with the law, their money starts getting hit, and they end up, bowing out disgracefully, and they die crazy horrible death.
That's that sorrow about it.
Yeah. Sure, you know what they're working for.
So Ecclesiastes 41:6. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual growth.
What was the inheritance of the sinner's children? It's wicked things. They inherited wickedness in life. And all this is going to perish. Those baby boomers who thought they was going to inherit all this wealth, all this land and resources, it was going to continue for generations. Now, they're still alive looking at all that resource, all those resources and wealth their parents being taken over. This is stripped. They're wicked. Now their grandchildren don't have nothing. Because during that baby boomer age, a lot of these Edomites that have ranches and all these land, 40, 800 acres, all that was due to the baby boomer age. They got passed down to them. They usurped that. With the coming of ages now, their grandparents and their children, they can't inherit it.
Or the ones that do got after they see that new generation, they be like, look, I'm not even gonna pass it, so I'm gonna just die with it. So either way, that prosperity is fucked because they're not gonna have nothing in the end.
Forced to sell their land because they can't afford the property.
those farmers nowadays, they barely afford to upkeep that farm. To buy the bales of hay, to upkeep the chickens, to upkeep the cows. It's becoming too costly. So they're selling out bits and pieces of their land. And slowly they're going to take it and take it over by the gates of hell, man.
And 31. Even not the oppressor and shoot me on his way. So at the end of the day, man, you shouldn't look at these people and how they wicked death, horrible death.
How happened in Israel that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country, that thou art divided from the dead, because as we show you the apostle, the spirit of the Almighty Esau got his riches by deceit, by bloodshed, by violence, by theft, right? So there's no end in all the celebrities, all the things that made it their just to come to terms with the fact that none of this was sustainable. Right? There was no sustainability behind this model of living. It was always corrupted. It was never meant to work. Right?
They never let you get all of that money because you always hear about they didn't pay taxes or some type of legal issue pop up. But Esau will give you that money and then do something to take it back. Like, if you want that back, and then some, you do another rich. Well, most of the major artists in the music industry are living off their loans called the advance. So they'll give you an advance on the album that you didn't make it. So you're supposed to utilize that for studio costs. But what happens is after they finish that and they go back to say September, they start padding charges. Yeah, okay. You take a game. It's a game here. You took game down to Hawaii, you don't remember? Yeah, game, you know? Then they start saying, but you know what we can't do? We get 4 albums and we get another event. And by that time, you create a lifestyle, that you gotta stay there for you to maintain it. So what does it do? You take the events, and now you're so locked in. You think you're a millionaire on paper, 20 millionaire on paper, but really it's a long from the label. Which is really interesting because locked into a different life, and you straight because you don't even own your life. No, you don't. You don't own the master's own label. That's why you hear like Mystic and Eric Howard, they talk about like they don't even get money from like his Empire show. Eric Howard, he don't even get a check for that hustle he wants to do. That his name is owned by that stuff in the studio. The album up, they put everything in his character now. His character is owned by the studio that produced that movie. So he don't even see no money from that. The labels are equivalent to the patent system. Right. They take body they own the passengers and they front you the people. And they don't even realize that that's what you no matter where you turn, this type of system exists. And it's to make you return to the only way that there is, which is how much now shot. So if you refuse that, the only thing left is death. Going back to the marriage that we made. Let all these persons people fall. If we don't peace our end of the day. So you either choose a life or you choose a death. That's why the Lord put Spirit on Moses to say that. Choose this day. Because death you got fast and slow down, but it's death regardless.
You're in perpetual debt.
It's just another day. You just said that you don't create a lifestyle for them. That's why they never hold on. There are two. Being wealthy and being rich and wealthy are different things. You gotta be out of town 8 months out the year. That's not a wealthy man. You can say that's a rich man, but that's not a wealthy man. And Jacob been taught and ingrained to believe that being a high-paid servant is equivalent to wealth. It's not.
And now we're counting with them that go down to the grave. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom, for if thou hast walked in the way of God, thou shouldst have willed the peace forever.
wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding that thou mayest know also where is strength for days, for life, where is the light of the eyes and peace. Wisdom is that light that never go without.
And also what brings us to make the day from here to look. Because that's going to keep you on the path to have that problem. Because if you don't feel the Lord, you have no family that keep you from throwing your integrity out. Whatever. My brother was telling me in the car, this brother, get a ride home. She gave us the box. So that, if you're willing to do that for something that's simple, how much more for a shit like
And this Venezuela, women barter a lot for our food. Literally, when their economy crashed, they were bartering their assets for food and business. Just going back to that bartering system, but it's going to go to a more harsher form of that bartering system. Because they're not going to give you no people. They're going to take you. Right. They call their hands, like you said, second episode. They're going to take it. A lot of these women have been afforded the luxury to live in an alternate reality. Yes, they live through a reality of social media. But they get all this approved. They get all these likes and comments. So they think that they're going to make it. And when you have a this college, that's the thing. And I teach you need a man, you don't need these type of man other than like you do. So when the fact that man comes out, because when society's crash, it goes back to the natural order. It resets. The natural order is going to come back in a very brutal way.
As the king started to go with that, men don't want to that woman is the least desired woman on the planet. So every nation of woman, nobody wants to be there. And it's all hard to fuck. She's shown all these years how she wanted a man. She said that this ain't nothing but a booty date, they're checking the dick. That's it. So when it comes down to it, if you actually need a man, you're going to see that, hey, go find a man. Men ain't going to want to put a man that time, man. It's either you're going to get mom, you're going to get left out here looking like a little kid before them guys are over. I got Isaiah 32:2. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary place. That's a man of the Lord. A man of wisdom is going to be the most valuable thing in that time. Talking about Corey Holcomb and that video, he was talking about David Stein and Babylon. Babylon's going crazy. But here it is, niggas got the value came from being iced out, being, flying shit. Nobody was going to care about that. Period. That's what's going to make you the most valuable thing in the planet. So women are going to be looking for a man to go for stability in that time, because that's the only way you're going to get the love. They can go be very close. Because even now, you have a lot of women that only date for survival. Yeah, they won't tell you that. They're dating for survival. That's why you have to be very discerning when you're dealing with women, because a lot of times it's an opportunity. If they don't genuinely like you, if they genuinely like you, you'll know it. But in these days that we're coming into, as the lifestyle starts to diminish, we're going to have a lot of women out there dating for survival. She's going to act like she like you, and if you're slow enough to take the bait, then it's on you. That's what's going to happen. And eventually it's going to transition. Yeah, it's the transition. And that's why the difference is,
Isaiah 1 has been there. You spend party out much brothers are being on a spiritual level, spiritually understanding what Isaiah 4 and 1 really means. Because when you're in that time period, taking on some kind of everything,
why? Because she look good. Nobody care about that being. Hey, being a beautiful woman in the time of trouble like that is going to be a threat. Because, hey, the better you are, man, the more susceptible you are to get taken. And you bring nothing to the table. Exactly. You have no
put it between the fence. It's like, at that point, it's like when you looking at being a rational individual in the spirit, you're like, this ain't even worth the trouble. And Jacob's already coming to that conclusion. Yes, that's the big like, it's not even worth the trouble. Why would I support you? And you bring nothing about it. Outside of how you
It's going to be like, you can't make business. You can't make bread and pour water. Your ass don't know how to bake. Maybe.
It's not about if she really likes me and how she look. Nobody gives a shit. What's gonna give a damn?
Because the spirit, your beauty is your spirit. You know, you're ugly than a motherfucker. Your spirit is beautiful. Come on.
It makes the action makes a woman more attractive. It does. It does. It makes something more attractive. Than a stubborn, disagreeable 7, 8, 9, or 10.
You're not gonna see it. You're not gonna fake
Those days, not naturalness. We all can see it.
She has to have some stuff about it too. This over that living in the president, they're about to live with it. And Lynn says, can you get it real quick?
So the spirit's going to be teaching.
That's beautiful though. Well, the beautiful already. I see what you are. Because I want to
They say that women have made themselves servants for women's sake. And that's a lot of them things that wanted to put a 9 or a dime into a cage. And then you became a servant. Yeah. And you just call it a provider to make yourself feel better. Because when they talk about women looking for a provider, they're really looking for a servant slash utility. A provider isn't just what you give. It's also the mentality. If you're not willing to be led, you're not looking like a provider. You're looking for a servant.
This is our 1 Timothy 5 and 6. In the NLT it says, but the widow who lives only for pleasure is spiritually dead even while she lives.
So she gotta have something up there, bro. The term is wanting a woman just for the box, man. That just doesn't. You gotta add something else to the table. You know? And that's goes to something like you said, a lot of women, they don't desire men for what men are supposed to be. They just to pay my bills, give me some things whatever I want, you know, to take me shopping, you know, give me some food. It's all about providing them so they can keep that parents that soft life.
You become a servant.
Right.
It means you ration out boxing if you don't bring it.
Right.
And then she tell you can't have another woman because she don't ration out the stop it.
I'm about to show you that they get what that tell you. As you're seeing more and more women are into that mind frame of, I don't care about this shit. I just want somebody that's going to take care of me. And then you tell one that say that it's a genuine want to be taken care of because they see what's going on and they feel it.
But that goes into
Right.
I saw a group of things that said on the internet, he was like, don't date a chick that's a survival woman. She can't give you nothing genuine out of survival mode. All the opportunities for her to survive. She's accepting this. You think she's like you when you don't even realize it. She's in Washington. She's playing that role. She's in Washington. Actually, playing that role to survive.
I do got a precept though. This is Boss Rock chapter 7 verse 260 to the 4th century. Talking about like white women. But this is Boss Rock 7:26. It says, "Has now a wife after thy mind, forsake her not. So give not thyself over to a light woman. At a time of Jacob, Isaiah 4:1, but you're not going to be going after light women, the ones that look good and have worldly status.
Yeah, you got a picture of BBL trying to hold her hair, bro. Yeah, any of these women that got these surgeries, man, the woman will use your body, man, to do you will get smashed with that.
We won't be going after anybody. They will be kissing them.
The truth gonna take their ass, man. That's really gonna be their justice.
Booty is a flat titty. All that shit.
Definitely. Definition of light, it says containing less than the legal standard or more usual weight of little importance. It says
Because when it start off with, you have a wife after your own time, right? And that's what you should consider important, how she looks, right? Especially if you're going to actually marry her, you got to consider the bond is going to create. That's the bond that's going to make it. Right. If she's not in agreement with you, if you can't leave her nowhere now, the kids ain't going to make us snap into obedient, submissive mode. That's why you got
If she's going with your program, then that's all that matters. Look, it's going to stay with her. Hey, eventually she's going to get older. You ain't going to be able to take her. Of course, you're only going to see you with her. You want something bigger and better.
And that's what wisdom teaches. Wisdom teaches you not to look at the outside of things. Wisdom teaches you to actually look at the mind of the woman that you're dealing with. So you're not over yourself to a light woman. I'm telling you, these days that we come into, a lot of survival dating is going to be taking place. You got to be wise enough to say no, to check it at the door and not deal with it. They don't give you chances now. We're in a time where she can want you. God, you was part of that. Missed your opportunity. It's like you around like that.
Hell no. That's good. Exactly. Hey, you only get one chance in the middle of the road. So that's your ass.
Revelation 3:10.
Black and red. Red, dude.
Revelation 3:10. Because I have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly, hold thy fast, which thou hast, I will make thee thy crown.
Okay, so with that, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory
To Yahweh,
Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, or the elders of Yasha Allah, and the sins and salutations to all you watching for preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Aqua for believing this word, and all truth and sincerity. Shalom. Shalom.
Hey, welcome in. How about you know shot to bless your house and the blessing of blessing be upon your house. Hey, the water for your precept. Let's close out with a curse. Yahweh, Bahashem, Shalak, Rayam, Shalom.